Titus and in Trinbago. It's not Brian Lara, I want to know. Women love this fella more than Bunchy. He's the only love Indian in TNT. He have a show called Explosion on the radio on the Wednesday and Friday. I'm telling you, I don't miss it at all. I always listening. I like the questions the people just be asking. I like to lick. You find nice it. The food too small. I have none at all. Every time I enter, I just reach quick. Make y'all do like it in she back pocket. Boy, tell me what to do about this. Then Raj will tell them call me office. 645-4543. That's the number for me. 645-4543. That's the number for me. Raj, when I make you love to nobody, she calling you on it. Hi, Raj. Long ago, the topic sex was taboo. People used to shame to say what they do. But since the sex talk show hit TNT, people expressing themselves openly. Nipples goes call and say what she doing. Rambo always want to know something. Sexy raps emails just make your pause raise. Just tune on to the show one of these days. Make y'all and me. We real kinky. She want to see. Next lady.
Sardar,
You feel you
Assalamu
could
alaikum.
arrange this for me. Because that is she fantasy. Raj boy, you feel you could arrange this. Then Raj will tell him, call me office. 645-4543. That's the number for him. 645-4543. That's the number for him. The man of a co-host, his name is Chris. If they have another sidekick like this, Ruben and Steve say the man is a stud. He always boasting about his tongue and rod. As a girl say she man can satisfy she. He does the Raj boy said she by me. He come just like long boy from in Manson. He really is the whole sex champion. We like to swing. Do anything. Boy, this show great. I love to masturbate. Boy, tell me something what good for Stan. Viagra ain't working at all, man. Stop laughing, this is serious business. But again, Raj will say, call me office. 645-4543. That's the number for me. 645-4543. That's the number for me. People thought the station would have fall through when Tony and Dale run away with the crew. But they didn't cater for sexplosion. In nightly talk shows, this is number one. Because it does educate, also entertain. If you feel a lie, ask Roger Henry. Nighttime people don't listen, I know it. They love to hear the angels and devils play. My friend Wendy, just get horny. Watching two men or two women. Anytime she ready for she fix. She boyfriend clock saying 6:30. What you could give him, he said no kicks. Here Raj, don't worry, call the office. 645-4543.
Pleasant good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me on my live. Once again, it's a Monday evening, and I'm here to talk to you about sex, to answer your questions. Some of you can call in later on. You can use your WhatsApp, for those of you who have WhatsApp, For those of you who have my cell phone number, you can do that, but not yet, not yet. Don't call me yet. I know after my last live, somebody suggested that I start taking calls. I will be able to take a few calls, but I don't want to deal with the calls as yet. I want to deal with the subject matter. And what is the subject matter for tonight? Tonight's subject matter is the art of seduction. How do you go about seducing someone? What is the art of seduction? Can we learn the art of seduction? Do we have the tools that are necessary for us to become an expert at the art of seduction? And the short answer to that is yes. We are born with the tool. We are born with an intellect. We are born with our body. We are born with the ability to decipher things. We are born with attraction. Attraction towards another person, towards a same sex, opposite sex. We are born with attraction. So the art of seduction should be very easy. But I'm always faced with this question by a lot of persons. How do I seduce someone? How do I use skills that I've learned to seduce someone? Now, as you all know, I'm a practicing Sanatadist Hindu. And because of that, I'm a Shivite. And when you are a Shivite, you understand things in a different way. You tend to see the science behind things because Shiva is about science. And let me tell you why. From dark matter came light. That light was Lord Shiva. Why am I talking about Lord Shiva and the art of seduction? Because he's the master of the art of seduction. He has given us the Kama Sutra, which is an instruction book on love. And I'm not talking about how to love someone only, but seduction is all part and parcel of it. Lord Shiva is the Lord of Tantra. Sex started with him. He brought it forward into the world. So that's why I gravitate towards it. That's why I have a better understanding of it, because of my love for Lord Shiva and because of my understanding of things in that realm. Now, some of you may think that you cannot equate God and sex, but that's not so as a Sanatanist. We understand the sexual part of it, and we understand the strength of the sexual energy if you are a true Sanatanist. Because sexual energy is very close to spiritual energy. As a matter of fact, sexual energy is so strong, it can take you in a spiritual path. Now, this might sound very confusing to some of you, but if you are a true believer and a reader and somebody who understands philosophy and all these different things, especially if you study religion or you study Sanatana Dharma, you will realize that that part of Dharma where they talk about sexuality and spirituality and the meshing of those things. And I wouldn't go into it. It's not only in Sanatana Dharma, but it's spoken to in other religion, but some of us, we sweep it under the carpet because we are ashamed to use the word sex and God. We are ashamed to equate the word sex and God. So I'll give you a little story. When Shiva manifested itself into the world, the universe, there was nothing. Nothing. He just came out of darkness. But knowing what he knows, he created two entities, Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver. So what is Shiva? The reabsorber, the energy, the Shakti. And Brahma started created the world. That's our Holy Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. When Brahma was creating the world, he created a being that was asexual. Male, female, could reproduce itself, create an entity, bring that entity up, and then the entity that created the entity dies. Lord Shiva, seeing this, went to Lord Brahma, reached into his mind, and pulled out a female aspect. Now, of course, if you could create a being that is both male and female, you have both in your mind. that this is male and this is female, and they can recreate themselves. But when he created this entity of a female being, Brahma was struck with lust for this female entity. Now, a lot of times you will go to prayers and pujas and whatnot, and Pandits will not tell you these things. They don't expound this information to people. But it is there. It is written, it's in the books, it's there. If you research it, you'll find it. After creating this female entity, Brahma forgot all about creation and he was lusting after this female entity. So you could call this female entity his daughter, something that was created out of his mind. And because of his lust and longing for this beautiful female entity, he was chasing after her all through the universe. Lord Shiva, seeing this, merged with the female entity and he became both male and female. That's why in some Hindu homes you'll see a picture of a man, half woman. That is Lord Shiva merging with the female entity. After he did that, Brahma came out of his stupor and started to create more female entity and say, okay, this is what's going to populate the world, and the rest is population of the universe. We have, 7 billion people now, so that's what it is. In our belief system and in our scientific way of proving it. Having said that, getting back to what I was talking about before with the art of seduction, there are a manual in the Kama Sutra, which is like a chapter that is dedicated on the art of seduction. What is the art of seduction? What are the qualities one need to be a person who can seduce another person? And it lists 64 items. Some of the items you will say is ridiculous. Some of the items are everyday items such as singing, dancing, reciting, being comical, being knowledgeable. Those are all ingredients in the art of seduction for man. So you need to have these ingredients in order to seduce. And women also. When I say man, I mean it holistically. Male and female. I don't only mean man, but I'll try to correct that every time I make that mistake. So you have entities, human beings, who have the ability to use their charm and the 64 elements of the things that they're supposed to know in order to seduce another person. But you know, one of the elements that we have is reciprocity. Taking the seduction of someone and using that seduction as energy to seduce. That's another thing. How do we identify these things? How do we know we have these things? Are we charming when we smile? Do we smile? Do we say words that are going to touch a person in a different way? Are our deeds towards an individual done seductively? What are the things that we're doing that will cause someone to be seduced by us? Now, seduction comes in a lot of forms. So one would think the 64 characteristics that I spoke about, well, I haven't given you the 64 characteristics, but the 64 characteristics, one would think that maybe a woman should learn these things and a man just simply needs to be good looking or rich, or both. But no, you could be good looking and rich, but you may not have the art of seduction, so you may not be able to seduce anyone and keep them within your realm. So let's get back to the Kama Sutra and Lord Shiva. The Kama Sutra is an instruction on love. Kama Sutra. Kam is love. Sutra is instruction. In the Kama Sutra, and how the Kama Sutra came to man, was Lord Shiva explaining to Mother Parvati the art of seduction and the art of falling in love, keeping someone in love, being in love, and reciprocated with that person. And in that dialogue, the part with sex and sexual union and position was just a few pages. I think it's 5 pages. The techniques and the intertwining of the body and all those things, about 5 pages. It's not much. So sex is not the greater part of it. The greater part of it is the body of the woman, the body of the man, the mind of the woman, the mind of the man, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the lips, the ears, the touch. Those are the important factors. And what you do with it, the intellect of the individual, how you convert your intellect into soft, soothing words, not arrogant. You don't seduce with arrogance. You drive away with arrogance. You use seduction. You use particular words when you talk about seduction. Those 64 elements is the elixir of youth. You keep yourself young in mind, body, and soul. You keep yourself young spiritually. You are able to use those elements to make you a better, stronger person. And I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about strengthening your mind, body, and soul. Because when you strengthen your mind, body, and soul, you become closer to God. And when you become closer to God, you have the ability to project these things. Now, one would think it's very strange that I speak about God, spirituality, and sex in the same sentence, But it's very easy for me to do that because I understand. I understand this concept of Godhead, godliness, spirituality, and sex. I don't understand it perfectly. I wouldn't fool you. I'm still learning. I'm learning from all the great writers they have out there. I'm learning from my precious Lord Shiva. But I keep that information churning in my mind so I could dissipate it to you all. Give you the information for you to go and do your research, for you to find out what are the 64 elements you need to learn. So when Lord Shiva was instructing Mother Parvati or telling her these instructions in love, Nandi, which is the bull that sits outside the home of Lord Shiva, that's the bull that Lord Shiva rides, he was listening to everything. Nandi was just not an ordinary bull, He was not just an animal, He was a being. He was a celestial being. And Nandi, in his wisdom, took all the information and passed it on to man. Of course, in the time of the lords and creation of the universe and whatnot, there was not much writing, but it was an oral tradition. And the oral tradition was something that was done in every culture, every creed, every race. So, you have this information being passed on, not this information, the information. Trinidadian, this. But the information that was passed on to Mother Parvati, being absorbed by Nandi the bull, being passed on to men and women, as I said, men and women, mankind, and the instruction was there. These are the things that you need to learn. The marks that you put on a woman is not round the neck, like if mosquito bite you. The marks that you put on a woman is private to you and the woman. It should only be seen by the woman in her private moments. Not putting a mark on a woman's neck and tomorrow she walks out or goes to work and somebody say, hey, like the mosquito bite you last night. That mark that you put there is a disrespectful mark because you're telling everyone this girl had sex last night. But in the art of seduction, when you put those marks in the right places, when she sees it, she's excited by it. If you recall from my previous programs, I was talking about a man is ready to have sex at the drop of a pin. A woman, however, needs to start up. And it starts with the art of seduction. The things you say to her, the little things that you do, the small words that you use, the way you look at her, using your body language to convey to the person that I want you, I am excited by you, I am horny for you. That's how the art of seduction transfers. Because when you look at a woman with a loving eye, with the art of seduction in your eye, and not with lust, but with admiration, with beauty, seeing her for her true being, the only thing that can happen is that she will absorb that energy and it will start doing something internally, mind, body, and soul. So she's going to react to that. Seduction is not quarreling. Seduction is not insulting. Seduction is not being angry. Those are not things that you do to seduce someone. It's not going to work. Seduction comes from the subtlety of your being, the soft side of your being, the ability to transfer to that person that energy that is going to cause her to get a stirring in her bosom. When you get that stirring in your bosom, when you get that stirring in your nether regions, your pelvic area, when you get that stirring in your mind, and look at the contrast in your mind from the head, tip of your head, inside that brain, all the way down to your perineum, it adds to a sensation that goes up and down the spine, the kundalini. The seduction now has an electrical impulse. So if you touch the person's mind, the electrical impulse transfers down to the vagina or the penis. And of course, it wouldn't miss the breast or the nipples and whatnot. If you touch the person through your seduction, I'm not talking about physical touch yet, through your seductive ways, and the vagina reacts to you, or the penis reacts to you, it transfers up to the brain. Because that electrical circuit that we have, which we talk about when we talk about chakras and we talk about the electrical circuit from the base of our spine to the top of our head, has to do with your balancing of energy. And that energy is seductive also. That energy is electrifying. It's mind-blowing. It's earth-shattering. It can make your hair on your body stand up. It can make you want to be with that person simply because there is that energy transferring along the spine. So lots of time when you hear someone who's a kura with tantra, tantric sex, the art of seduction, they themselves don't even know what they're doing. And a lot of times people criticize Sanatan Dharma and they don't even know they're practicing bits and pieces of Sanatan Dharma. They don't realize it. But for those of us who are wise and those of us who do not want to create an issue, we leave you alone. We leave you alone. You think you could practice yoga without touching on any aspect of Sanatan Dharma? The practitioners of yoga will tell you it is not a religion. But Sanatan Dharma is not a religion. It's a way of life. It was never a religion. That's why you have so many different aspects of it, all leading to one realization, but many different aspects. So when you talk about Tantra, which is also a greater part or a great part of Sanatan Dharma, which has been lost to us who came from the east to the west, which has been buried deeply because the British ruled India for 350 years. When you talk about the art of seduction, the Kama Sutra, the sexual energy along the body. What are the elements that you need to be a seductive individual? Your eyes. You can seduce someone with your eyes. But the amazing thing about it, it's not only, it is not only utilizing the five senses, utilizing your mind, your powers to interpret, your retentive powers. It is not only those things. It is also your ability to convert that energy within you and project it out to another person. Projecting energy is not an easy thing because many times projecting energy tends to leave the individual who is projecting drained, or it may cause you to bounce up a lot of negative energy coming back at you. It could weaken you. Projecting energy takes a skill. And again, you use your senses, but you also use your intellect to do it. So when we talk about that beauty of seduction, I want the ladies out there to start thinking, does my partner, whoever he or she may be, project seduction towards me? Am I seduced by that person's words, thoughts, deeds, by the simple thing he or she would do, little gift? How many of you out there that are married have a way of telling your spouse, husband or wife, I love you without saying I love you? Can you say I love you with your eyes? Can you say I love you with your kiss? Can you say I love you with your touch? How many of you can say I love you without having to utter the words I love you? Have you mastered that? Is it automatic with you and your partner to do something like that? Can you project yourself, your feelings of love, appreciation, beauty, seduction by your eyes, by your lips, or by your touch? What does your partner project to you? And what do you feel when he or she touches you, smiles with you? This is seduction come from a smile. You know? A smile could be very seductive. A smile can tell someone you have an interest in them. Oh, I am interested in you. A smile which comes from the lips, but a smile is a reflection of the heart. You cannot have a cold heart and smile. You cannot have a heart that is uncaring, a mind that is uncaring and smile. It will be difficult to smile. Some people feel that they have to remain serious all the time. But that one little smile can cause a breakdown in the person's barrier towards you. A smile could open a door. A smile could cause you to get better treatment. And if you have dealings with someone in an institution and you smile with them and you see the reaction of the person, you'll realize what powers the smile have. I am talking about projecting what you feel without saying it, which is your action, but your action does not have to be a physical action. It does not have to be a physical action. Because if you are attuned to your partner and attuned to your surroundings and who you're with, your smile says it all. Your seduction starts from there. So the art of seduction stems from the mind, body, and soul. It takes into consideration 64 different aspects of life, all wrapped up into one unit that is projected onto a person through energy. Energy is not something that could be weighed or measured. Energy is not something that could be seen. It is felt. And it is not felt by the fingertips. It is felt by the mind and the heart. That's where it's felt. When you create that environment of seduction, what's the underlying theme? The underlying theme is happiness. I want to make you happy. And I making you happy, you will make me happy. You know, there's a legend that Cleopatra, wanting to seduce Caesar, you know she did it? Well, she had the body for it, but it wasn't her body. She did it with the art of seduction by telling herself that every moment I spend with him, I am going to laugh, I am going to be happy, I will not be sad. And every moment she spent with him, the art of seduction that she used was happiness. She was thoroughly happy in the moment. She was smiling, she was jovial, she was kicking, she was laughing. She was totally happy. And we all know the results of it. We all know the results of Cleopatra. Seduction. It worked. But what worked? The element that worked for her was one of the elements of the 64. Knowing how to be happy. Creating happiness and projecting happiness. Isn't a smile a happy thing? A laughter a happy thing? Telling a joke? Those are happiness. Those are seeds of happiness. Complimenting someone. That is happiness. A woman wears on a shoes. You know women like their shoes. And you compliment her on her shoes. And she feels good. Same thing with a guy, Guys don't feel good about those things. I remember going to a store once, and this woman came and sat next to me and said, I love your shoes. Where did you get that shoes? You know, I wore that shoes for a week. No, I don't usually wear the same shoes for a long period of time. But it kind of melted into me. What happened there could have led to other things, meaning I could have carried on a conversation with her, we could have gotten to know each other better and whatever, but it was a compliment taken in the right way, telling me that somebody appreciates the way I dress. So imagine doing that to a loved one. When you do that to a loved one, you compliment the things about their hairstyle, the way they look. Have you ever looked at your husband and said, boy, I really wish we could go to bed now. I would love for him to wrap his arm around me. Well, say it. Say it. Project it with the word. Project it to him by the words. It is no longer the woman needs to know certain amount of things to seduce the man. It's equal footing. And it's not 32, it's 64. You got to learn these things and use it. But seduction, it doesn't work in a willy-nilly way or on everyone. Seduction has to come from the heart towards someone that you have strong feeling towards. The feelings from your heart must be projected through that art of seduction. Sometimes we forget some of the elements of that 64. And one of the elements of that 64 is physical appearance. The way you carry about yourself, the way you dress, respecting yourself in those areas causes one to look at you differently, and they see a different you. You glow differently. Maintenance of your physical appearance goes with personal hygiene, because it doesn't matter how great you're looking and somebody comes within 3 yards of you, that's 9 feet, or 3 meters of you, and they don't want to come further. So another important aspect of the art of seduction is your personal hygiene. And in personal hygiene, I remember, if I recall correctly, as part of that art of seduction, is your ability to perfume your body. Your ability to put the right scent on your body to seduce someone. Because not all scents work on an individual, you know. I may have a cologne that causes me to exude my sexuality and spirituality, and another person might put that on and it smells totally different. For those of you who are Sanatanists, you know the smell of kush kush is a spiritual scent. Immediately you smell kush kush, they say a puja somewhere in your mind. Immediately you smell a hawan, say, ah boy, a hawan is taking place. Devotion to God. It's the scent. Google, camphor, burning, loban creates that. And all religion have it. They use it in one form or another. But it's all part of the art of seduction. But the spiritual part of you have to be projected somehow of the other. So the perfuming of the body gives off that aura. And let's talk a bit about aura. How many of you project a strong aura, a positive aura, a bright, shining aura around you? How many of you could feel it or see it? Have you ever noticed that when somebody walks into the room, your attention is drawn towards them? Why is that? It's not because of the sound that they're making. It's not because they walk in and say, here I am. Their aura, when they walk into the room, the aura pervades the room. It catches your attention. Their aura attracts your aura. The positivity of the individual is felt. There are some persons so negative and their aura is so dark that from the time they come around, you feel drained. You feel lost. You feel as though you have lost something. You feel as though someone has stolen from your heart. You feel as though someone has robbed your soul because they have a dark, dull aura. How do you strengthen your aura? You see, the mind, body, and soul is divided into 3 segments. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And in order to balance your mind, body, and soul, and this is very serious, you must have perfection. 33 1/3, 33 1/3, 33 1/3. But at no time should any one of those 1/3 drop below 30%. Obviously, if one drops below 30%, the other 2 is going to rise. because it must maintain 100. But which one of those one third should be greater than the other? Mind, body, or soul? Mind, body, or spirituality? To maintain a balanced aura, to maintain a bright, shining aura, it's the one third, one third, one third, 33 and a third percent, 33 and a third percent, 33 and a third percent. You don't want 31%, 34%, 35%. You don't want that. Because then something is out of balance. You're not going to be balanced. It could be close to the 33 and a third, 32, 34, 34, 32.5, 33.5, like that. But you must maintain that balance. How do you maintain the balance with mind, body, and soul? Body is maintenance, male or female, it doesn't matter. Maintenance. The physical well-being, your medical well-being, your spiritual well-being. Mind. Strengthen your mind, your intellect, by reading, by getting into philosophy, understanding different philosophy, understanding comparative religion, balancing. There are days it's going to go out of whack and you have to pull it back together, whether you go into a room for devotion, do your little job, say your namaz, go to your altar and pray, kneel by your bedside and pray. We do those things, sometimes we say we do those things because we're asking God for protection, but don't you think that you need the most amount of protection from yourself? We need more protection from ourselves than any other outside influencer. Because sometimes you allow one aspect of your life to go this way, high up, and the other two to be suppressed. And you're sucking off the other one. Your spiritual self is dying, but your mind and body is strong. Some persons will say, I have all the education in the world, so my mind is strong. I lift weights, I have all the body in the world. Yes, I'm strong physically. I'm perfection when it comes to looking at my body. But the other two aspects is down the drain. There's no balancing. That is part of the art of seduction. Some persons believe because they have a great looking body, especially some men, it is all that I need to get a woman. And the minute you open your mouth to talk, say, no way, Jose, I don't want to be near that person. He does not stimulate me in any way. He just looks good. So, when we talk about perfuming the body, we're not talking about only putting scents like sandalwood and rose and jasmine and different scents on our body. Now they're making cologne for men that are oil-based, not alcohol-based, that dissipates very easy. But if I spray a particular cologne on my body, it will react to my pheromones and give off a different smell. So knowing what will work for you, I have had persons ask me, boy, what cologne you using there, boy? And I tell them, oh, sometimes I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't know, because I have a lot of colognes that works well with me on certain days. That's another thing. I know which cologne will work with me on what day. Just as I know what color to wear on certain days. That's the balancing of my spirituality. I understand that. There are certain colors that goes with certain days because of the deities. That's my balancing of my spirituality. But the perfuming of the body is not only on the outside, it's also on the inside. That's how you perfume the body. Now, one would think that I'm giving away a lot of information and whether I should be doing that. I'm selling out myself, but my job is to teach. My job is to give you the information so that you can take that information and become a better person all wrong. Be good at the art of seduction with your spouse. Be good at the art of seduction with your loved one, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever it may be. My duty is to pass on the information. Many of you, for whatever reason, biasness, non-appreciation of other cultures and whatnot, may have never heard of the origin of the Kama Sutra, may have never heard the story of creation by Lord Brahma, because you'll tell yourself that is real, that is true. But, like I said, I say this is my belief, it was there before everything else. There is no teaching that goes back as far as that. And we're talking millions of years, not thousands, millions of years. We have what you call yugs. We're in Kali Yuga right now, the age of the computer, the age of darkness, the age of the Iron Age. We're in this right now. But we have Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga. That's what we have, yugs. And each yug has a certain amount of years. So, with a dispassionate heart, with a broad intellect, understanding that getting the information about these things and using it to strengthen you as a person should be your duty, not mine. My job is just to throw it out there. Throw the art of seduction, the mind, body, and soul, sexual energy, the energy that comes from the mind, body, and soul, the elixir of life or youth, the 64 elements that we need for seduction, the 5 senses and how to use it for seduction, and ask you questions about yourself and get you to answer those questions based on what I'm talking about today. For those of you who want to call, 740-1961. You can call me on my cell number or you can send me a WhatsApp message. Now, I don't have a switchboard, so first call comes through, I'll just take it and we'll go with that. But I'll continue. But if you want to call, you can reach me via my WhatsApp, 740-1961. Those of you calling internationally, 1-868. 740-1961. I said it too fast. Taking bits and pieces of information. The only complete work on sex, love, marriage, relationship is in Sanatan Dharma. Because there is a book, a specific book for every aspect of life. One book. Chapters after chapters on every aspect of life. If one was to take the entire lifetime and start reading those books, we'll never finish. Never. And those are the books of Sanatan Dharma. But you can take any one aspect and read books. Any one aspect and read books. Even sex. And that's something I had a discussion with a pundit last Thursday. We had a very deep discussion about that. How one could take the sexual aspect of one's life and reach the height of spirituality. It's taught in Tantra. Lord Shiva teaches us that. Imagine that. Imagine that a way of life, a belief system that tells you that sex could make you one with God. Nobody else could claim that. Nobody else could say that. Isn't that great? Everybody likes sex. Every single person likes sex. There isn't one individual out there who don't like sex. Now, one of the things that I speak about is astrology. But when I speak about astrology, I'm not talking about just being a Scorpio or Libra. Somebody will say Libras are wannabe Scorpios and different things, and we always hitting at one another. When somebody asks me, what planet are you? I say, from the worst planet. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. It's the worst you could ever come across because you don't want to get on our wrong side. Ever. We're the sweetest, nicest people, but you don't want to get on our wrong side because that is the side that will come out like that. Snap off a finger. We go for the jugular. And snap off a finger, we go for the jugular. But that's personality. When I talk about astrology, I always talk about the power of the moon and what it does to human behavior. You know, for those of us who grew up in the rural areas like Sangre like myself, you will know not to cut bamboo or any tree on a particular date. Because when you do that, you're going to get weevil and you're going to get a white dust falling from it and it's going to rot very quickly, but disintegrate very quickly. So there are times that you cut the bamboo. There are times that you cut wood. Any woodman will tell you that. There are certain trees. So we know that the moon controls the tides. It controls the fishes in the seas. It controls human behavior. That's why the word lunatic came from the moon. For persons who were showing signs of mental disease, they will call them lunatic. Because as the changing of the moon will cause a changing in the individual. We are over 70% water. Moon affects water. The movement of the moon causes the tides to change. If the tides could change in the ocean, why can't the water inside of us change? The liquid inside of us change with the waxing and the waning of the moon. And with the waxing and the waning of the moon, and women being the creature that they are sexually, they need the art of seduction to blossom. They need the art of seduction to become sexual. The moon and the phases of the moon, the waxing and the waning, and the cycles also affects a woman's erogenous zones. And what are the erogenous zones? Today you might touch a woman on her hair and she feels, oh God, she feels sweet. You know, tomorrow if you're touching the same spot, you're feeling it. Do you know why? Have you ever stopped to think why? If I play with my wife buttocks tonight and tomorrow night I play with her buttocks, it's two different women are touching. Have you ever stopped to think why? A woman erogenous zones changes with the moon every single day. There are some days it's the palm of the hand. Some days it may be the shoulder. Some days it might be the back of the ear. Some days it might be the calf. Some days it might be the buttocks. But it's not simple touching also. The man also, because of the waxing and the waning of the moon, has to know how to touch, where to touch, how to tap, how to pound, how to massage, how to kiss, how to project the art of seduction by the little things that we do to our partners. Imagine that. The moon controls the behavior of our seduction also. So one should learn that there are different parts of the body of your partner, your wife, that you can touch on different days that will cause the same reaction that you got one day when you touch her eyes or you kiss her on her eyes. The next day it might be on her neck. The next day it might be on her navel. You've got to know these things. Because with the woman and with all that waxing and waning of the moon, the tides, causes a shift in the individual and their feelings or their sexual arousal. That's why a woman period is tied into the moon. That's why childbirth is tied into the moon. So they are very important elements when it comes to the art of seduction that we need to understand about ourselves, our partner, how we go about it, how you look at someone, what you say to the person, how you touch that person. And I'm not talking about only physical touch, but how you touch them with your presence. The strength of an individual, the strength of any one of us comes from the things that we do from our heart, not our physical strength. The beauty in what we do comes from within, mind, body, and soul. The way we interact with our loved ones, the things we tell our wives, our husbands, that's seduction. Learn the art of seduction as you would like to be seduced. Sadness don't bring seduction. Happiness brings seduction. Don't go towards your partner in an aggressive, assertive way when you're angry. There's no seduction in that. There's fear. There's resentment. There's no seduction and love. The seduction will come from you when you actually project that positivity, positive energy. You start projecting that. You start showing the person that with your smile, with your loving eyes, your raised eyebrow. That's seduction. As we say in Trinidad, a little sweet eye. How many of us does use sweet eye again, boy? How many of us does give a girl a nice sweet eye? You know about that? That is the art of seduction. You know? As young children, you see a girl in school and you give her a sweet eye and you go on your way, but she might give you the same thing. I don't see people giving sweet eye anymore. There's a reason it's called sweet eye. You know? A sweet on you. We are slowly losing the art of seduction because we don't communicate with our eyes, our eyebrow, our lips, our words. We communicate by texting. Saying I love you. Now this is not seduction, when I say, hey dog, how you going? That is not seduction. Hey dog, I want to get it on with you. That is not seduction. Call me a dog, I can't feel seduced by that. If you say, sweetheart, I would like to spend some time with you. Richard, you still do old schooler? Good old grandy boy. I like to tell people I'm a grandy boy and I'm proud of that. Grandy boy. Kanapo boy. So, practice the art of seduction and practice it with your loved one. Use those little things, the I love you to your wife, your husband. Use it, utilize it. And you'll be thankful that I had this program tonight and was able to give you all that information. I try to do my Sexplosion program every Monday night at 7:30. I hope you join in with me. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone. Share my videos. It's there, it's free. I don't charge people for this. Give out the information. Help them to be a better person. Because at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. I am Dr. Giriraj Ramanan, better known as Dr. Raj. My practice is in St. Augustine. I can be reached at 645-4543. You can reach me via my cell phone, 740-1961. I am here to entertain, educate, and inform. Good night.